there. Welcome back to Newsy Live. I'm Veronica Dela Cruz. Great to see you on this Friday. Let's get you up to speed right now on some of the biggest stories that we're tracking. Attorneys for jailed WNBA star Brittany Griner speaking in her defense inside a Russian courtroom. Russian officials arrested her in February after they said they found cannabis in her luggage and accused her of drug smuggling. She has since pleaded guilty. And attorneys say that Griner has been prescribed medical cannabis here in the U.S. to treat her pain. They're trying to persuade the court to act with leniency when they decide to sentence her. Jalen Walker was shot more than 40 times during a police shooting last month in Akron, Ohio. It's all according to a preliminary autopsy report. The medical examiner counted 41 entry wounds, 5 wounds from bullets that grazed him, but said it is impossible to say which bullet killed him. He was killed in a hail of bullets following a police chase. He was not armed at the time. The NAACP has called on Attorney General Merrick Garland to immediately open a federal investigation. Happening right now, President Biden holding a critical and controversial meeting in Saudi Arabia. He's been meeting with the country's crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, and his top-ranking officials. During his visit, the president is expected to urge the Saudi government to ramp up oil production to help tackle those high gas prices in the states. He also plans to address Iran's nuclear program with the possibility of reviving the nuclear deal with Iran. So President Biden's meeting with the Saudi Crown Prince has garnered its share of criticism coming from around the world. National correspondent Ben Shamiso breaks down the controversy for us.
Well, as a candidate in 2019, President Biden blasted Saudi Arabia right after the CIA concluded that the Saudi Crown Prince ordered the killing of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi. But campaigning and governing are two different things, and President Biden today is in Saudi Arabia, in his words, to promote America's broader interests. It's the president's first trip to the Middle East since taking office, and he's capping it with a controversial move, a visit to Saudi Arabia. As a candidate, President Biden called the kingdom a pariah state. So why the about-face?
Seems to be driven by a couple of factors. Oil is obviously one of them. But a bigger one seems to be that right now, Biden is very worried that Saudi Arabia, the UAE, will start orienting themselves more towards China and Russia.
The war in Ukraine and record prices at the pump are pushing the president to soften his stance on the rich oil kingdom and its de facto ruler, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS. President Biden had previously refused to engage with the prince after U.S. intelligence concluded he orchestrated the murder of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi, something the 36-year-old Saudi prince denies. Prince bin Salman is all but ensured to soon succeed his father, King Salman, who is in poor health. To get there, the prince has been ruthless.
He consolidated his power a couple of years ago by imprisoning almost all of his cousins.
Bin Salman is moving to modernize Saudi Arabia by getting rid of the religious police, allowing women to drive, and legalizing cinemas and concerts. But experts say he's doing so as the tyrant of an increasingly repressive country.
It is true. He allowed women to drive cars, but he also then imprisoned all of the leaders of the women's movement who had pushed for women to be able to drive cars. He did not want to give them credit.
US-based political dissident Abdullah Lauda, a friend of the late Khashoggi, knows firsthand how oppressive Saudi Arabia has become.
I have been surveilled, I have been threatened, intimidated. My cousin, my uncle, my father have been arrested for years. 19 members of my family are banned from traveling just because they are relatives.
As president, Donald Trump made his first overseas trip to Saudi Arabia. Eager to boost U.S. arms sales to the kingdom, Trump overlooked the prince's human rights records. But when President Biden took office, he promised to change course. He quickly declassified the intelligence report on Khashoggi's killing and imposed sanctions on Saudis involved, but not on the prince himself. The White House decided it couldn't afford a full breakup with such a strategic ally.
It is an important country because it is the largest oil producer in the world. And we are currently suffering from very high oil prices. It's an important country because it is the host of some of the holiest places in the religion of Islam. And it's one of the most influential countries in the Muslim world.
Defending his decision to now travel to Saudi Arabia, President Biden writes in a Washington Post op-ed that from the start his aim was to reorient, but not rupture, relations with a country that's been a strategic partner for 80 years. And perhaps the most important reason why Saudi Arabia has been such an important partner for so long is its huge oil reserves, especially at a time when oil prices are so high. But the White House tells reporters not to expect any announcements on a boost to Saudi Arabian oil production right away, but potentially in the coming weeks. Ben Chamiso, Newsy.
All right, Ben, thank you for that report. Political crises are unfolding in two different countries right now. As we take a look at the new temporary leadership named in Sri Lanka following days of protests and unrest, and the impending implosion of Italy's ruling government following the prime minister's failed attempt to resign. Let's go ahead and begin right now in Sri Lanka, where the prime minister has been sworn in as acting president. He took on the role once the previous president left the country on Wednesday and resigned, and that resignation came after protests over Sri Lanka's economic collapse. Parliament formally accepted his resignation earlier this morning. In Italy, where the president there has rejected the prime minister's resignation, the prime minister has offered to step down after the government's largest party withdrew its support in a confidence vote. Members oppose new policies aimed at lowering inflation and energy costs. The president is now asking the prime minister to address parliament to get a better idea of the political situation that is happening there right now. All right, so to come on Newsy Live, we're less than 24 hours away to the launch of the new suicide prevention hotline number, but are officials prepared for the influx of calls? We'll find out next when Newsy Live continues.